My name is Cathleen Calderón. I'm a first year here at Yale. I'm very involved in MECHA, which is a social justice group here on campus. And I've done a lot of work with Unidad Latina en Acción, otherwise known as ULA, which is a community-based organization here in New Haven that defends human rights of the workers. And I was heavily involved in the Gourmet Heaven case that has been going on since August of 2013. So as a first year, I learned a lot about several complaints that had occurred before I got here last August regarding workers who were experiencing wage theft, working in Gourmet Heaven under the owner Chung Cho. And apparently the Department of Labor of the state of Connecticut did not start the investigation until August. So while students were becoming aware of the issues happening in the workplace, the Department of Labor undertook the investigation, and that lasted the whole semester. And I mean, that's how I became involved, just especially also through MECHA, the student activist group. We went to the protests every Friday evening in order to encourage a boycott of the store and affect the sales of the store so that the owner would get the message that what he was doing was wrong, that we were not going to tolerate the exploitation of the workers who are working in a business that is on Yale University properties. And that was another component of the campaign that also had to be focused on, was pressuring university properties to deal with the issue because they are the owner of, the property. It's all a system, it's connected, so without the people you wouldn't be able to grow the food, without farm workers, without workers like those at Gourmet Heaven, anyone in any service industry who is serving food, people distributing food in factories, whatever it is, it's all a system and it's connected. And without any single person, it wouldn't be able to function. And as much as a globalized system, creates the imaginary that these people are replaceable, that they're disposable, that they are just a number, a cog in a machine. It's not that way. These people have families, they have lives, they have rights. They have human rights, and those translate into their rights as workers, and those connect to their, food rights. They're handling, these products, these objects that the rest of us get to enjoy, but without experiencing the labor that they do, without experiencing the exploitation, the working conditions, any discriminations that they experience. So I think it's just common sense to realize that the things that you get to enjoy come from someone else's suffering in a sense, and that it shouldn't be that way. My experience, it's been rough. I've learned a lot from ULA, Unidad Latina en Acción. They have really inspired me just in the sense of being persistent with the issue, being consistent in having the boycott every Friday, in talking to the Department of Labor, trying to make any connections that we can. Us as students, talking to university properties, and especially meeting the workers themselves is what has carried me personally throughout the campaign. Because some of the obstacles that I did experience were, students who just don't care, students who walk by us picketing on Friday evenings and they would walk straight into Gourmet Heaven and buy their whatever sandwich food and, walk out, and that was it. And so it seemed that we were having no effect in those moments, but you had to remember that the workers who got fired over winter break, the workers who had, told the Department of Labor about their experience of wage theft, we were there ultimately for them. They were out there with us. They were showing their faces, saying that this had to stop, and also fighting not only for themselves to gain the money that they were, robbed of, but to fight for the workers that were staying in there because, they're all friends, they're a community, they know each other. It was not only about them and their interests and them getting paid back. It was about making that working environment better for everyone else who was staying in there, everyone who's going to come after. And hopefully eventually throughout, New Haven for workers who are also in the other restaurants. And I realized that a lot of students don't know about the things that go on outside of the Yale bubble, outside of the campus. And it's great. I'm very grateful, to have my dining hall and, stores just right in the vicinity. But it's not okay at the same time, because through your 4 years that you're stuck in this bubble, you forget that there are people with, I don't want to say real problems, but with problems larger than those that you may experience at Yale, because you have the privilege of having all of these things, you know, at your reach. They're so accessible to you, whereas other people are working extremely horrible and long hours, like the workers at Gourmet Heaven, to gain even a part of what you have and what you enjoy at school. So that definitely opened my eyes to appreciating, you know, the city more, getting to know the people who run the city that we benefit from, us students and the Yale community. And it also gave me more experience in, you know, political activism and community organizing and whatnot. We're in a world where everything is globalized also, so the globalization of workers, of industries, whether it's food or garments or, you know, heavy industry or mechanical things, whatever it is, somehow it seems that a certain group of people becomes displaced in the process of producing things that other people will benefit from. Just for example, in the border region of the United States and Mexico, you have women who work in factories that are producing, you know, plastic pieces of TVs for people who are going to watch these TVs in the United States. And these women experience exploitation in the factories. You know, they live in shacks near the factories. They have pollution from the factories that come into their communities. And many of them migrated to those places, you know, in the first place because they didn't have jobs where they were, you know, south from the border. So they become displaced in the first sense in their migration to get a job, and then they become displaced in a second wave because they do not have a national identity. They are serving the United States, but they are not respected by Mexico because they do not have any labor rights. So it's just very, it's disappointing, of course, to say the least, that you have people being displaced for the service of a system that dehumanizes them in order to make them, you know, able to function in this machine that's created to profit off of human labor, but while you don't see them as people. So just in connection with the Gourmet Heaven case or any workers' rights or, you know, labor violation cases, it's just people don't realize that they are taking part in a process that other people are going to suffer from, that other people are going to be neglected from. Their stories and their narratives are erased. All that matters is their labor. They're only seen as an economic contribution to where they work, you know, whether it's a factory or a Gourmet Heaven or whatever. To just look out for the information, ask mechistas about it. I mean, the People Center is where ULA meets, and you can talk to me, reach out to me. I don't know, you can get involved. The resources are out there, but you have to go out and look for them. You have to ask the questions, and you have to educate yourself ultimately. And educating yourself is going out there and finding the information for yourself, but also asking other people who are educated about that issue. You know, asking them the questions, just finding that information, and carry your passion. It may not be just for workers' rights, it may not be for, you know, environmental justice, but just a passion for human rights or a passion for caring for other individuals and realizing that you can improve, you know, their experiences or help them out or just support them. It's very essential to them because you see them more as people, you know, just like your parents or, you know, any relative or friend. They have a job and they have that job, they take it with dignity, and you need to really become proactive in your community and just participate in movements.